This video will be a compilation of several individual true crime article-based videos that I've made over the last week. In this short intro, I'll show the headlines, you can have a quick look at those, and the beginning of each video will be time-stamped, so you can move along to those videos which are of particular interest. If you appreciate this type of video, this compilation style of true crime article coverage over the last week or so, please do let me know. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. I'm trying to make multiple videos every day. Manage it pretty often, not always. I do have a membership system, don't have any don't have a single member, but hey, you know, that's life. And I'm also going to say, don't watch too many of the videos. If you feel that it's bringing your mood down, if it's upsetting you too much, please stop watching, go away, do something fun. If you really feel it appropriate, it's okay to unsubscribe. Give yourself a break from my channel, from perhaps other true crime channels. It's very dark in nature, and it's not always the best thing for us to expose ourselves to, so bear that in mind. Look after your mental health. Of course, full condolences to the family and friends of all of the victims mentioned in the videos. Hopefully you're able to learn a thing or two. Hopefully my commentary isn't too annoying. Thank you for listening, and please watch as much as you're able to. When police arrived at a home in northern Ohio to perform a welfare check on Thursday evening, they were met with an extremely gruesome sight. 5 people, including 3 children, were found dead in an apparent quadruple murder-suicide. It was a domestic dispute that turned deadly. The bodies of the Dunham family, Jason, 46 years of age, Melissa, 42 years of age, and their 3 children, Renee, 15, Amber, 12, and Evan, 9 years of age, were discovered in their home in Lake Township, around 15 miles outside of Akron, Ohio. Police responded to a request for a welfare check at around 7:30 p.m. Thursday evening. The police haven't made public who they believe to be the suspect who did fire the shots. It could have been the father, it could have been the mother, I guess. There's the potential it could have been one of the 3 children. We're not told at this point in time. I'm sure that information will come out soon enough. We're told that no other people are believed to be involved at this time. It was a domestic dispute which has left 5 people dead. We're told that all 5 died due to multiple gunshot wounds, and they were pronounced dead at the home at 9:52 p.m. I presume shortly after the officers arrived to perform the welfare check. The father's handgun was used in the shooting, but it was not known as of Friday afternoon who fired the shots. Both the father, Jason, and the mother, Melissa, had permits to carry concealed weapons. A welfare check was called because co-workers hadn't heard from Melissa in 2 days. A police officer and a sergeant arrived at the home to find packages at the front door and accumulated mail in the mailbox. All of the family's vehicles were present. Police entered the home with a neighbor's help, and tragically they found the family members in their bedrooms. That's pretty much all the information that we have at this point. Of course, full condolences to all of the family and friends touched by this absolute tragedy. We don't know the full details. We don't know who the shooter was. I guess we can speculate. The gun was registered to the father, the husband, Jason Dunham. So I guess it's fair to assume that he was the shooter, but that may not be the case. I'll say that I find it a little odd that the police haven't released that information. It makes me wonder if they do believe that Jason wasn't the shooter, that it was somebody else, the mother or indeed one of the children. I feel reluctant to say that because I don't want to besmirch any of the victims, but what we do know is that it was an apparent quadruple murder-suicide. 4 innocents and 1 person who was, I'll say, a psychopath, a savage, who perhaps snapped, perhaps they suffered long-term mental illness, we don't know, had access to a gun. Again, the article tells us that both the father, Jason Dunham, and the mother, Melissa Dunham, had licenses to carry concealed weapons, fully registered, but I guess it's possible that the children perhaps had access to those guns if they weren't safely secured. It's an absolute tragedy, of course, and it's going to rock not only the family and friends of the victims, both the mother and father in employment, the children at school, of course, so it affects their colleagues, their neighbors, others in the community. A lot of trauma all around. And once more, I'm going to say there's no easy fix. These situations tragically occur time and time again in America. I don't say that in an attacking way, just a statement of fact way. We read about these situations constantly. What's the answer? Well, don't really know. What are you going to do? You're going to take the guns away from everybody? Well, given that your criminals in America have as many guns as they want and they're able to buy switches for them and extended magazines and all of this kind of thing, I would think taking away the guns of law-abiding citizens perhaps isn't the best strategy. So I don't know what the strategy is. The police have done the right thing. Neighbors have done the right thing. The co-workers of Melissa Dunham were concerned, so a welfare check was made. police diligently performed the welfare check, they've done the right thing. I mean, I'll say this, if it is due to somebody again having a mental snap, and I'm not quite sure what we mean when we say that, but if they're normally a healthy, non-violent person and then something has made them commit this horrific attack on their own family, then my guess would be that it's likely financially orientated, likely some dispute between the husband and wife. I'm guessing, I'm speculating, I could be completely wrong, but I think we're all under a great deal of pressure, and a lot of that is financial pressure. So where are the governments to help in such situations? Nowhere, pretty much, as far as I can tell. So perhaps it was due to a mental snap, perhaps sparked by a marital dispute, a custody dispute, a financial dispute, exacerbated by the stresses of modern life. We don't know. Perhaps there is no answer, but I just feel that it would be nice if life was a little easier for most of us. Pretty tough. But I guess that's all I have to say. So I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care. The man charged with the brutal hammer attack that left a New York mother dead and her 2 young children critically injured has been taken to hospital for psychiatric evaluation. Leong Lee, 47 years of age, is under guard at the Mame Ianides Midwood Community Hospital after police found him covered in blood outside of the woman's apartment in the Sunset Park area of Brooklyn, New York. Inside of the apartment, the police found the body of Zhao Zhao, 43 years of age, and her 3 and 5-year-old children so badly hurt that police reportedly took them straight to hospital rather than wait for an ambulance. We're told that the children are still currently fighting for their lives. Leong Lee lived with his 9-year-old son in a room that he sublet from Zhao Zhao in the apartment on 52nd Street, and neighbors reported hearing them having a series of loud arguments in recent weeks. One of the residents of the apartment block said that he was terrified when police arrived and he saw the hallway covered in blood. He said that the 2 children were 5-year-old David and 3-year-old Yaya, and they had many young friends in the building. They were very lovable, and now we're told that both David and Yaya are fighting for their lives, both, I believe, in intensive care. So, of course, thoughts and prayers for the welfare of 5-year-old David, 3-year-old Yaya. Let's hope they are able to make a full recovery. Let's hope they do survive. Let's pray for their father. I believe the husband of the mother whose life has been taken away. Her name again, Zhao Zhao. I believe I pronounced correctly. Zhao Zhao, 43 years of age, beaten to death with a hammer. Thankfully, the scumbag prime suspect, Leong Lee, is under guard. He's currently at the hospital, but under guard. He will be arrested as soon as he's released from the hospital, or whatever the correct term or procedure happens to be. But certainly the authorities have their prime suspect, a restaurant server that lived in the apartment with the young family, recently having arguments with the mother, Zhao Zhao. We don't know what the argument's about. Perhaps money. We're told that police were called to the apartment based on reports of an assault at the second floor apartment on Wednesday just before 3 p.m. As police arrived, they immediately saw and grabbed both children, David and Yaya. Instead of waiting for an ambulance, they rushed them both to the hospital. We're told that a hammer had been recovered from the scene, and again, a witness said that the hallway was covered in blood. The scumbag, Leong Lee, doesn't have a criminal record that New York authorities are aware of. He has now been charged with murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, assault, and criminal possession of a weapon. And let's hope he gets locked up for the rest of his life. Obviously, he needs to face a trial. We're not told how the prime suspect was arrested. I would guess he was arrested at the scene. That may not be the case. I would guess that he didn't struggle, but again, that may not be the case. Seemingly, he was taken to hospital. As far as I understand, he's still currently in hospital, but under guard, of course. That's pretty much all the information that we have. Of course, full condolences to all of the family and friends of the 3 victims. The mother, Zhao Zhao, killed, beaten with a hammer in her own home. Her 2 children, David, 5 years of age, and Yaya, 3 years of age, also attacked by the scumbag psychopath, both in critical condition, fighting for their lives. Let's again pray that they are able to survive. Full thoughts and prayers to the father. His life absolutely ripped apart at this point. Let's hope angels are looking over him and his 2 children. Let's hope he's able to get the community support to be able to rebuild his life when he's able and ready to. It might take a long time. And I think, regrettably, there's not a great deal more that can be said. We could ask, why did this happen? children. We're not going to know the specifics, but they were renting out a room in their apartment. Why would they do that? They've got 2 young children, a husband and wife. I don't know if they are married, but even if they're not married, you know, partners, a mother and a father, 2 young children in an apartment, and they're renting out one of the rooms. Why are they doing that? Financial reasons. They're struggling financially. They needed every spare dollar that they could get. That's my guess. So they rented out one of the rooms to get a little bit of extra money, and they were running into arguments. Why? Maybe that was financial too. Maybe the scumbag wasn't paying his rent. Maybe he was causing this problem, that problem. But what were the young family to do? They needed to pay their rent. They needed to look after their 2 children. The husband works at a restaurant, doing what they can. I mean, that's my guess. Could be entirely wrong, but I can just think that this was once more due to finances. And with that, I don't suppose there's a great deal that we can do about it, unless the government's going to step in and give everyone a little bit of breathing space. But there we go. I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care. In March 2021, 17-year-old Jason Langens was at a 16th birthday party at a house in Tyrradden, southeast of Melbourne, when a fight broke out between 2 boys. Jason tried to do the right thing. He tried to intervene non-aggressively to defuse the fight, but tragically, Jason Langens was attacked by one of the 2 boys that was fighting, who had earlier that evening picked up a screwdriver, and that teenager drove the screwdriver almost 8 centimeters into Jason's brain. Jason was hospitalized. Tragically, he died 3 weeks later. The article is lacking a little information. We're not told all of the details. We're not provided the name of the attacker because of his age. We're told that he was 17 at the time, 18 at this point. We're told that the attacker was drinking, smoking weed. He was told by somebody else that there might be trouble, so he armed himself with a screwdriver, and then he got into a fight with somebody else. Jason intervened, and the scumbag teenager struck Jason with the screwdriver, killing him. So the article doesn't tell us what the teenager was charged with. Was he charged with murder, manslaughter? We don't know. We're not told. I'm sure you'll be able to do more research to find that information, but I try to keep things quick and easy with all due respect. So we're not told what the teenager, who's now 18, has been charged with, but we are told that he was handed the maximum 6-year sentence and that he must serve at least 4 years in jail before being eligible for parole. The attacker has already spent just over 2 years in prison, so in less than 2 years, the attacker that killed 17-year-old Jason Langens might be released from prison. Not good enough. Extremely stressful for Jason's family and friends. They deserve justice, and it looks like it's been denied. Again, the article doesn't tell us every last detail. We're not told what the attacker was charged with, what he's been found guilty of. I guess he hasn't been found guilty of murder because the maximum sentence is so low, a maximum of 6-year sentence. Surely you can't be found guilty of murder in Australia and merely get 6 years. That doesn't seem right. So I'm presuming the attacker was charged and found guilty of manslaughter, something along those lines. We're not told. That's pretty much all the information that we do have. Full condolences to the family and friends of the victim, Jason Langens, 17 years old, at a birthday party in Tyrradden, southeast Melbourne, March 2021. A fight breaks out. He tries to intervene. Well, he does intervene. And tragically, that act of bravery cost him his life, stabbed in the skull with a screwdriver entering 8 centimeters into his brain, hospitalized, and tragically he dies 3 weeks later. Absolutely awful. Full condolences to all of his family and friends. His life taken away. And the attacker, he has his life merely interrupted. Sentenced to a maximum 6 years in jail, already spent 2 years, so he's going to be out potentially in less than 2 years if he's granted parole. Yeah, not justice. You can't take the life of somebody else and then only have 6 years of your own life taken away or in prison for 6 years. Perhaps not even that, perhaps just 4. It's not good enough. The Victorian authorities have let the family down, in my estimation. Again, I can't say that I know all the details. We've just got the one article there. Doesn't seem to be telling us all of the information. So that being the case, I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care. a teenager who helped lure a boy to a suburban home and took part in the prolonged assault that killed him, has been jailed for at least a decade. He was among a group of teenagers and adults who attacked 16-year-old Jason Galligan at Doonside in Sydney's West, August the 4th, 2021. Tragically, Jason Galligan died in hospital 2 days later. Of course, full condolences to all of Jason's family and friends, his schoolmates, anyone touched by this tragedy, lured to a suburban home and then assaulted by a group of teenagers and adults. Absolute scumbags. So we're told that the teenager concerned was 14 years old at the time. His name can't be released for legal reasons. He pled guilty to murder. We're told that he helped collect Jason from a railway station. The 14-year-old struck him 52 times in less than 2 minutes, kicking him in the head, also stomping on Jason's chest. The scumbag gang, the group of teenagers and adults, captured the attack on video and posted it online. Absolutely sick. That 14-year-old who pled guilty to murder had posted on social media hours before the assault saying that he was about to go bash someone. LMAO, laugh my ass off. 14-year-old was looking forward to joining a bunch of scumbag teenagers and adults in a planned attack on 16-year-old Jason Galligan, lured him to a home in Doonside, and then they all piled on. Kicked in the head, stomped on the chest. A brutal attack. 7 minutes of the hour-and-a-half long attack was recorded on video, posted online, and again, tragically, Jason died. We're told that the teenager that lured Jason to the family home had a troubled upbringing. His mother was an alcoholic. There was some level of gang association. He claims that he felt pressured to contribute to the attack, none of which is relevant in my mind, none of which is enough to be considered for a moment to be any kind of justification. The 14-year-old was a human who saw fit to be a part of, to contribute to the murder of a 16-year-old boy. Sure, he was young, we make mistakes when we're young, but we don't go around killing people. We don't go around stomping on their chest, kicking people in the head. We're told that he's been sentenced to at least 10 years on a total sentence of 15 years and 6 months. So he's been sentenced to 15 years and 6 months in jail with the possibility of parole after 10 years, if I understand correctly. He'll be held in a juvenile facility until he turns 21 years of age, at which point he'll go into an adult jail, not quite sure of the terms. He'll be eligible for parole in 2031 when he's 24 years old. So this young murderer, again, he pled guilty to murder, could be out back on the streets at the age of 24. What's his life going to be then? We don't know. I mean, perhaps he's going to have support from his family and friends. He gets out at 24, perhaps he's going to be given a lot of support. Is that the right thing, to support a murderer? Should society, should the local communities, should his family and friends say, hey, you know what? You did the wrong thing, but you served your time, so now you're free, so we're going to help you out. Is that the right approach to take? It seems a bit weak to me. It seems wrong that society supports the wrong people so often, fails to support the right people. Society doesn't reward those that do the right thing by and large. This murderer is going to be forgiven by too many people. He's going to be given a helping hand. Oh no, you're a young man, you've come out of jail. Oh, we're going to help you out. We'll give you a job, we'll give you housing, we'll give you financial support. Maybe we'll bring you into our criminal gang. Maybe that's what we'll do. I don't know that's going to be the case, but that's my guess. There's a good chance of it. Do I think 10 years is enough for the murder of a 16-year-old boy, Jason Galligan? No, it's not enough. I'm going to qualify that a little bit, and I don't wish to be offensive, but I'm going to qualify it a little bit, not a lot. This teenager was 14 years at the time, 14 years old at the time. Does that afford him a complete pass? Absolutely not, but some level of leniency, perhaps. He also pled guilty. In doing so, he's guaranteed a conviction. In doing so, he's made it easier on the family. I believe in such circumstances, the family don't have to go through quite as grueling a trial. They have some level of comfort that a sentence will be applied. So I would think that it would be somewhat fair, somewhat to be expected, that authorities would grant some level of leniency for the fact that he pled guilty. And also, we're told that he was just one part of a gang, of a group of teenagers and adults. We're not told how many people were involved, but he was just one part, a significant part. He lured Jason into the home in Doonside, but then a whole group of teenagers and adults attacked Jason to the point that he died in hospital 2 days later. So my point there is the 14-year-old wasn't entirely culpable. He wasn't the only person involved. He may not have dealt the final blow, if that matters. I guess I'm trying to not justify, but digest and perhaps explain why it could be deemed appropriate to give a murderer murderer a mere 10 years in jail. It's not enough, but I can understand being given a lighter sentence. Well, I've made a bit of an error there. He's been sentenced to 15 and a half years, but he may be released after 10 years. I doubt his family and friends are going to be satisfied with that. I'm sure his family and friends, those touched by Jason's death, are going to be angered when they learn that one of the scumbag murderers that took Jason's life may well be out of jail after 10 years, may well be able to move on with his life at the age of 24. Still a young man, still with his life ahead of him. He's got a second chance. Jason didn't. His family and friends, Jason's family and friends, will not be happy with that. They're going to be angry. They're going to feel let down. And that's important. You know, that is really going to hamper their lives. That level of anger and resentment, which is fully understandable, fully justified, it's going to affect different people in different ways. But there's going to be some of Jason's family and friends that are just absolutely rocked by the lenient sentence of this murderer. So full condolences to Jason's family and friends again. Going to wrap things up at this point. I do need to mention that several others, hopefully all of the others that were involved in the attack, they're still awaiting a trial themselves. They're awaiting sentencing. At this point in time, if I understand correctly, it's just this one boy that has gone through a trial. He's pled guilty. He's been sentenced. Perhaps it was a quick process. I don't know. But let's hope that the other scumbags also face justice. And let's hope that their sentencing isn't as lenient. Perhaps there's an argument for some level of leniency. This murderer was 14 at the time. He wasn't the only person involved. He argues that he felt pressured to be a part of the attack. But regardless of those things, 10 years is not enough. I'm going to wrap things up. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care. A 21-year-old engineering student was stabbed more than 100 times and murdered by her own stepfather after she tried to protect her mother from being punched in the face repeatedly. Angelina Tran, a University of Washington student set to graduate next year, ran into the kitchen at a 31st Avenue South residence in Beacon Hill in the early morning on August the 7th when she woke up to 54-year-old Nageep Keen Cow punching her mother in the face and head about 15 times. So there she was, 21 years of age. Angelina Tran, a university student, woken up by her stepfather beating her mother in the face and head. She intervened and her stepfather stabbed Angelina Tran more than 100 times. Police arrived at the crime scene at 4:55 a.m. The scumbag stepfather, again his name, if I pronounce it correctly, Nageep Keen Cow, walked down a staircase holding a large bloody fixed blade kitchen style knife, which he dropped when officers instructed him to. He was arrested, he was cuffed, at which point officers found the stabbed and obviously deceased body of 21-year-old Angelina Tran. She was lying on her back on the floor of the kitchen. CCTV security footage from both inside and outside of the home recorded the initial disturbance, which was an assault between the stepfather and Angelina's stepmother. The CCTV security video also captured the murder of Angelina. The stepfather stabbed Angelina at least 107 times in the torso, using both the knife that he was carrying when confronted by officers, as well as a separate meat cleaver style knife that he obtained from a kitchen drawer. Again, Angelina woke up to hear the stepfather beating her stepmother. Angelina held on to the stepfather in an attempt to keep him from continuing to beat her mother, and both Angelina and the stepfather fell to the ground. Angelina continued to fight the stepfather, and the stepfather stabbed her in the back. The stepfather then stabbed Angelina over and over again. At times, the stepfather took a break for several moments and then once more returned to stabbing Angelina again. She was stabbed at least 107 times in the torso, both with a kitchen knife as well as a meat cleaver style knife that the scumbag stepfather got from the kitchen drawer. Police say that there's evidence that the stepfather changed his clothes during the attack. So he had attacked the mother, he had stabbed Angelina multiple times in the torso, he had blood all over his clothes, he felt cold in the blood. So he changed his clothes. Then he came back to the kitchen, selected a new knife, a meat cleaver, and then continued to attack and stab Angelina. So again, the articles told us that the attack started with a domestic dispute between the scumbag stepfather and the stepmother. We're told that the stepmother was punched by the stepfather multiple times in the face and the head, but tragically it was Angelina who suffered worse. She was stabbed at least 107 times in the torso, found deceased by officers at the scene. The suspect, the stepfather, said, "I killed somebody," whilst he was being handcuffed, and with that he's been jailed and held on a $5 million bond. Why such a high bond? Well, apparently the scumbag stepfather has significant financial resources. The domestic dispute was about money. Seemingly he feared that his wife, the stepmother, we don't know her name, but he feared that she was going to divorce him, take all of his money, which led to the physical attack, him beating his wife, the stepmother, and then that evolved. Angelina bravely tried to protect her stepmother, and in so doing she was killed. It's an absolute tragedy. Full condolences to all family and friends concerned. We're not told of the medical condition of the mother. I am a little bit confused with the article. The article does refer to the mother as a mother and also as a stepmother, so I'm not entirely sure. I'm kind of guessing that the mother is Angelina's biological mother. We're told that she was in a relationship with the scumbag stepfather for 19 years. They got married last year, and such a terrible ending to that marriage, to that relationship. There is a GoFundMe in Angelina's memory. They've raised around $20,000. We're told that Angelina was an incredible daughter, a cherished friend, and also a perfect girlfriend. We're told that she excelled in her studies. She had just one more year remaining at the University of Washington. She was studying engineering. Of course, this tragedy has severely impacted all family and friends of the victim. Angelina Tran stabbed more than 107 times at her family residence in Beacon Hill on August the 7th, 2023 by her 54-year-old stepfather, a man that she viewed as being her father. She loved him, she had a parental relationship with him, and he betrayed her in the worst possible way, stabbing her 107 or more times in the torso, killing her, found deceased at the scene by officers. So the stepfather complies with the officers. He drops the knife, he allows himself to be arrested, detained. He says, "I just killed somebody." We're told that he's been charged with first-degree murder. He's got a very high bond, $5 million, due to his significant financial resources, and we hope that he pleads guilty. The attack was caught on CCTV. In my opinion, he ought to plead guilty. He ought to be given no leniency for doing so. The attack's on video. For sure he's going to be convicted. I hope that he is sentenced for a very, very long time. I don't know if the death penalty is a possibility. I would hope that it is, but if not, let's hope that he gets life in jail. Let's hope that Angelina's family and friends are able to move on. Her mother, I believe biological mother, but the article has referred to the mother as being a stepmother. I hope that the mother will be able to move on and find some happiness within her life. It's gonna take a long time for her to get to that position, no doubt, but let's hope she does. Certainly her life has been ripped apart. Her partner murdering her daughter. Could anything have been done to prevent this? Likely not, in my estimation. There was a domestic dispute. We're not told that the scumbag murderer had a previous record of physical violence. We're not told that. Perhaps he does, but we don't know that. And if he doesn't, then this seems like an unpredictable tragedy. Everyone's got kitchen knives. If somebody snaps, has a mental episode, a psychotic episode or such, how are we to predict these things? It was a domestic dispute. Apparently he was fearful that the mother, his wife, his partner, was going to leave him, take all of his money, so his solution was to murder the daughter. It sounds like insanity to me. It sounds like a psychotic episode. What the heck do I know? Nothing. Even if it was just a moment of violence, that moment was absolutely horrific and took the life of an absolute innocent. Angelina Tran, 21 years of age, university student at the University of Washington, studying engineering, loved by her family and friends, her life taken away in a brutal fashion. I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. Let me remind you not to watch too many of my videos. I've made several today. I'll make a few more. Every last one of them are very grim, very dark. Obviously, I want you to listen to and watch watch the videos that I make. I want you to subscribe. I want you to share. I'm looking to have a thriving YouTube channel. I seem to be getting better and better, I think. But at the same time, these topics can bring us down. And if you listen to too many, it can really affect us. And perhaps some of you, are already not necessarily in the best frame of mind for whatever reason. Perhaps you've got difficult things going on in your lives. Perhaps you've lost family or friends. Perhaps you've been a victim recently or at some point. Perhaps you're not in the best frame of mind. Perhaps that's why you resonate with the true crime topics. So I'm just trying to remind you to be mindful of your own mental state. And if you feel that your mood is changing too much, if you're getting too upset, either like in the immediate sense or like even for me personally, I feel like I have a general pulling down of my mood. So it's not necessarily, not going to use the right words, but it's not necessarily that I feel absolutely upset for any lengthy period of time. It's more that covering these topics just brings me down a notch or two in general, which is why I am taking several days off between making videos. If I was a robot, I'd make multiple videos every single day, but I'm not a robot. It does affect me, and also time's a factor as well, and energy. But anyway, I've rambled here and I don't wish to take away from the tragedy that we've discussed. So I'm going to wrap things up. If you appreciate, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and take care. A Detroit woman and 2 teenagers have been arrested after allegedly befriending a new mother and kidnapping her 14-day-old baby boy twins. Their names Montana Alexander Bridges and Matthew Jace Bridges. 3 kidnapping scumbags. Their names Chantal Re-Azia Jones, 23 years of age, a mother to 2 young daughters herself, along with 2 fellow scumbags, Curtis Lee Slay, 18 years old, and Davion Demetrius Sherman Chandler, 19 years of age. The 3 of them befriended the mother at a hotel in Livonia, Michigan on Sunday. They gave her assurances that they would provide her assistance. We're not told exactly what assistance they promised to provide, but we are told that the mother briefly left the room of the hotel, at which point these 3 kidnapping scumbags stole both 14-day-old twin baby boys, Montana Alexander Bridges and Matthew Jace Bridges, and fled the scene with them. An Amber Alert was launched across the region, and thankfully, the 2 boys had angels looking over them, and they were handed in to police on Monday morning. We're not told the full details of them being handed back to police. We are told that one of the 3 kidnappers, Chantal Re-Azia Jones, handed herself in. We don't quite know if the other 2 scumbags also handed themselves in. We're not entirely sure if Chantal Re-Azia Jones handed herself in along with the 2 children, 2 babies. It seems likely, I guess. And with that, what a relief for the mother, for the family concerned. Absolutely beside themselves, their 2 baby boys stolen, kidnapped by 3 scumbags that tricked the mother, befriended her just to betray her, took her children when she had briefly left the room, promised her assistance. But I guess we can be thankful at least one of the 3 saw sense, at least one of the 3 felt remorse, handed herself in, and presumably handed in both of the children as well, both of the infant babies. In so doing, that scumbag perhaps saved the lives of the 2 children, the 2 babies. I don't wish to commend the kidnapper too much. She absolutely deserves punishment, as do all 3 of the scumbag kidnappers, but I think we have to give some credit if indeed she was responsible for returning the children to police safely and unharmed. I would think that she deserves some credit for that. If you disagree with me, just let me know in the comment section. Perhaps I'm miswording things a little bit. We're told that the police have charged all 3 of the kidnappers. They're each charged with 2 counts of kidnapping, 2 counts of unlawful imprisonment, 3 counts of larceny, and a single count of conspiracy to commit kidnapping. The 3 of them have been denied bond and currently remain in remand. And that's pretty much all we know. The police have the suspects already. The 2 babies are unharmed and returned to the family, returned, I presume, to the mother. There's plenty of evidence that the police already have, perhaps confessions, which is going to make it very easy to prosecute these 3 scumbags for duping the mother so that they could purposefully steal these 2 babies. What were they going to do with the 2 babies? What was the intention here? I really don't know. Were they going to sell the babies? Was there perhaps a wealthy couple that would want to buy twin babies? Perhaps. Really don't know. I'm speculating. Human trafficking trafficking? I say that with confusion. I don't know if any human trafficking organization would want to buy 2 babies. What would they do with 2 babies? What, they nurture them until they're older and can... I don't know what's going on. I don't know why anyone in their sane mind would steal 2 babies. 3 of them in Michigan did exactly that. So that's all we know. I do hope that the mother, the family, are able to recover from this trauma. It's going to be very, very troubling for them. I'm sure they will in due course. I hope the mother doesn't blame herself too much. We can all be lied to. We can all be fooled. So sure, the mother absolutely needs to be a mother bear and protect her children at all times. So I'm not saying that the mother was completely faultless, but again, we can all be lied to. She was duped. We don't know the full details, but could she be expected to believe that these 3 people were going to steal her 2 infant babies? Don't know. But either way, thankfully, the 2 14-year-old twin boys, Montana and Matthew, have been returned home safe and well. So let's hope justice is served. Let's hope that the 3 scumbags do face severe punishment. I would suggest if one of the 3 was responsible for returning the children, I would presume that they would be granted some kind of credit for such actions. In so doing, that kidnapper presumably saved the lives of the 2 infants. But those are my thoughts on the subject. So I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care.